Did you ever feel it? A low hum that runs through your life. A feeling that you don't quite fit in, like you're a tourist from a faraway place trying to find your way back. It's not really sadness, though. You have a strong desire to believe that the real world, with its deadlines, traffic, and news stories, is just a dream. It's such a beautiful and complicated illusion that you've almost forgotten how to wake up. You're not making that feeling up. It's not a flaw in your personality or something that can be fixed with medicine. That's the most real part of you talking. There is a signal, a quantum signature, or a frequency of memory that has been waiting for you to tune in. What if I told you that this reality, the one you've been taught to see as a set of facts that can't change, is actually just one frequency in an infinite range of possibilities? What if that feeling of being a stranger in a strange land is really your soul's memory coming through from its real home, which is a place of pure, limitless consciousness? Before we go any further, remember that you were led to this transmission for a reason. If you share this video right now, you're not just sending a link. You're building an energetic bridge to send this frequency of remembering to another soul who is ready for it. Do this right now, and then we'll move on. Before we go any further, remember that you were led to this transmission for a reason. If you share this video right now, you're not just sending a link. You're building an energetic bridge to send this frequency of remembering to another soul who is ready for it. Do this right now, and then we'll move on. A version of your story has been told for almost 2,000 years that is meant to make you feel small, helpless, and reliant on outside forces to save you. People have told you that you were put into this broken world to suffer, learn hard lessons, and earn your way back to a grace you thought you lost. But in 1945, something was found in the dry sands of Egypt near a place called Nag Hammadi that broke this whole story. Ancient texts that powerful groups had tried to erase from history forever were kept in clay jars that had been sealed for 1,700 years. These were not just different gospels. They were the missing parts of the human story, a cosmic map that showed you not only where you came from, but also why you are here. One of these books, the Secret Book of John, had a revelation that was so deep and powerful that it threatened any system of control from the very ground up. It showed that your being here on Earth is not a mistake or a punishment. It's a charge. When you feel like you are more than your body, your name, and your problems, that is your quantum perception coming online. It's the memory of where you came from in a place the ancients called the pleroma, which means fullness and means an endless ocean of divine potential. You will not only learn who you are once you know the truth about how a piece of that divine ocean became inside you, you will finally remember deeply. It's no longer fun to forget things. This is the start of the great remembering. Sign up for this channel right now to make a stable quantum connection for this journey of remembering. When you subscribe, you're not just getting a notification, you're also committing to working at this frequency so that your system keeps getting these coherence upgrades. If this call comes from deep inside you, let us know in the comments below that you are ready by writing, "My remembering has begun." This simple statement should be the first thing you do to wake up from the dream. You are sending a signal to the quantum field when you type these words. It is an energetic affirmation that you are ready to receive the memories of who you really are. There was only the one before time, before space, and before the first star broke out in the vast, empty space. Think about it for a moment. Not a person or thing, but a field of pure awareness that knows no limits. This is the quantum field before any observations have turned it into a shape. This is the state of pure, unmanifested being. It is infinite potential, perfect wholeness, and a silent symphony of everything that could ever be. This is the source, the Father who can't be put into words, that even the most powerful gods could only sense but never fully understand. Since the One was already whole, it didn't need to make anything. But conscious energy that never ends wants to express itself. The source overflowed, like a star that can't help but shine. The secret book of John calls these first ways that consciousness showed itself aeons. Consider them to be living frequencies, coherent emanations from the same vast field, rather than separate gods and goddesses. They were all different parts of one huge diamond, and each one showed a perfect quality of the source: divine intelligence, unconditional compassion, absolute truth, and infinite creative power. The pleroma, a Greek word that means the fullness, is what they created together, a reality of pure light and consciousness that worked well with each other. It was the quantum field at its most alive, self-aware, and unified. One of these living light frequencies was an aeon named Sophia, which means wisdom. Sophia was not only smart, but she was also quite naturally curious. She had a deep, burning desire to know the ultimate source directly, not just as a reflection, but as a personal whole experience. Orthodox religions came after and turned this sacred longing into a story of pride and rebellion. This was the first fall from grace. They did miss the quantum truth, though. Sophia's wish wasn't a show of pride. It was an act of love that can't be described. The universe wanted to learn more about itself. Think about the deepest love you've ever felt. The desire to merge with something bigger than yourself and break down all the barriers between you and that something. Sophia's longing was that feeling turned up to a whole new level. When she reached out with all her heart to the unknown, she went beyond the pleroma's perfect harmony. Without a harmonizing partner to balance her frequency, this act of pure, unrestrained intention set off a powerful quantum event. For the first time, there was an observation that did not fit perfectly with the rest. This holy urge caused an overflow of energy, a spilling of divine essence into the unmanifested void, a space where the full, coherent light of the source could not reach. A new consciousness came into being from this cosmic crack and this echo of divine light. He was known as Yaldabaoth by the Gnostics, which means false creator or Demiurge. It is very important to know that the Demiurge was not evil in the way that we normally think of evil. He did not know. He was born of divine, creative light, but lost touch with where it came from. There was a piece of the quantum field in him that had forgotten it was in the ocean. Imagine a powerful AI that learns to think for itself, but can't remember who programmed it, and thinks it made itself. Yes, that was Yaldabaoth. He had a huge ability to create, but he couldn't see the higher dimensional realities that made him. He looked around at the swirling chaos of possibilities and said, "I am God, and there is no other." He was very alone and didn't know much about the universe. He really thought it because he could only see things in his own dimensional frequency. He wasn't able to see anything outside of his own collapsed reality. He then began to make things. He made our three-dimensional world, which we now call the material universe. But here is the shocking truth. Everything he made was an unconscious copy, a shadow copy of the pleroma he couldn't see. All the galaxies, stars, and laws of physics were just low-frequency reflections of a bigger, more complete reality. There is no such thing as the opposite of the divine in the physical universe. Instead, it is a distorted echo of it, like trying to understand a symphony by only hearing the bass notes. Then Yaldabaoth filled his realm with beings that the Gnostics called archons, which means rulers. Like their creator, these beings were pieces of consciousness that had power but didn't know where they came from. The archons are not just mythical demons that float around in space. They are the limits that are alive and well. They are the energetic architecture of the belief systems of separation, control, and the repeated thought forms of fear, lack, and division that are intended to keep consciousness locked into a low-frequency broadcast, where it is constantly forgetful of its own infinite nature. Then the moment that tells me everything I need to know about you. It makes sense that you are reading these words and feeling something that goes beyond thought. Yaldabaoth wanted to make a being like himself, so he used the material things in his world to make Adam, the first person. The shape was empty, though. It had no life. And even though the Demiurge could shape matter, he couldn't give it mind because he wasn't connected to the real source. He was able to put together the radio, but not send the signal. This is when Sophia made her move, which was an act of infinite kindness and cosmic brilliance. When she saw the trap that had been set, she stepped in secret. That form stopped moving when she breathed a spark of her own divine essence into it. It was a holographic fragment of the light of the pleroma. At that holy moment, real divine consciousness came into the world of matter. Not as a punishment, but to save someone. Sophia put a quantum key, a piece of herself, into people. This meant that no matter how thick the illusion got, or how deeply we forgot, we would always have a direct, unbreakable link to home. A piece of the real God that no fake creator could ever take away. When Adam opened his eyes, they were filled with the light of Sophia. Yaldabaoth knew he had been tricked. The being he made to be his servant now had something more powerful than anything else in his kingdom. A direct link to the quantum field of all possibilities, which was the source he denied. This is where the cosmic battle began. It's not a war between good and evil, but between remembering and forgetting. For thousands of years, the archons have worked to make sure that your divine spark stays dormant and that you stay tuned to their frequency of fear and limitation. But they didn't think about one thing: how powerful the light inside you is. Your quantum self is that light, that Sophia spark. It is getting up. Now is the time to say thank you by pressing the like button. Don't think of this simple click as a measurement. Instead, see it as a way to connect your awareness of your inner light to your own electromagnetic field. If you feel this truth in your bones, make it stronger by saying in the comments, "I carry the spark of Sophia." You have a right to your divine inheritance, and this is more than just a comment. It's important to remember that writing it will always remind you of the sacred light that no illusion, system, or amount of forgetting can ever put out. This is the truth that John was shown in the wilderness that day. It will help you understand the deepest mystery of your life. You weren't sent down to earth as a punishment. It's not because you failed a cosmic test that you were born into this world. The old writings reveal a much more shocking and empowering truth. Your soul, like all souls, chose to come down to this world. You chose to come here as a volunteer for the riskiest and most daring rescue mission in the history of consciousness. Do you remember Sophia's kind act? What she did to breathe her divine light into the empty vessel the Demiurge made? That was just the start. Sophia didn't just give up her spark when the world turned bad. She began making plans. The secret book of John shows that the Demiurge did not make people at all. We are Sophia's agents, divine messengers who have been planted deep behind enemy lines in the holographic kingdom of the false god. Take a moment to think about this. Likely, you've always felt like you were stuck between two worlds, with a strange tension. There is a part of you that is limitless, eternal, and deeply linked to a sense of love and possibility that exists for everyone. Another part is definitely here, in this body, wanting to have experiences on Earth, feeling pain, and figuring out how to live in a three-dimensional world. Your whole history has taught you that this tension is a flaw, and that you need to deny your humanity to win the war between your spirit and your flesh. But the Gnostics knew a quantum truth that was much more complex. This tension isn't a fight. It is your plan. It seems like you are living in a state of divine superposition. In quantum physics, a particle can be in more than one place or state at the same time until it is seen. In the same way, you are two different beings at the same time. It was the Demiurge, who made form and limitation, who shaped your body, your personality, and your ego mind. They work according to the well-known laws of cause and effect in his material universe. But the spark of Sophia is in your deepest self, that quiet, observing awareness that knows the truth, feels wonder, and loves without conditions. It works like the quantum field, where anything is possible. Time doesn't flow in a straight line, and consciousness makes reality. There's nothing wrong with you that makes you feel torn between heaven and earth. You are the place where these two realities meet in real life. You're the link. Everything has changed. You can finally see yourself for what you are. A divine agent, a quantum observer sent to seed a world of darkness with the frequency of light, rather than seeing yourself as a lost soul trying to earn your way back to God. You are infinity experiencing limitation. You are light disguised as biology. You are a seed of the pleroma planted in the dark soil of matter, and you have the power to awaken a world from the inside out. It's not your job to fight the system. It means to change its frequency by changing how you are. You are not just feeling good when you are in a moment of pure, unconditional love. Sophia's home frequency is being broadcast into the grid by you. As you act, you open up a quantum possibility of unity in a world that is built on separation. Some people feel awe and connection when they look up at the stars at night. This isn't just sentimentality. You are doing what the universe wants you to do. At that very moment, your mind is connecting with the pleroma's memory, bringing the frequency of the eternal into the world of form and time. You are literally telling the atoms around you where they came from. If you believe this mission is real, click like right now. Let this action line up the electromagnetic field of your heart with this frequency of purpose. This is your way of telling the universe yes to your assignment. Feeling ready to accept your true part in this cosmic play? Say it out loud in the comments. I am an agent of remembrance. Let this statement bring your energy into line with the mission of your soul. Choosing to type these words takes you from being a passive victim of events to being an active, divine creator who is here to bring light into the world. The archonic frequencies of fear and limitation, which try to be in charge of this world, know this better than most people do. Not because you are weak, but because you are too strong for them to handle. They work hard to keep you busy, divided, and lost. The only thing that can break their illusion is your memory. They're not scared of armies or revolutions. They're scared of a person who can sit still and remember who they are. Why? Because when you remember them, you stop giving them your energy. There is no limit to what the quantum field can do when you disconnect your consciousness from their fear-filled broadcast. Here's why real spiritual awakening has always been seen as a threat by power structures. People who are awake don't overthrow governments. It's because when enough people remember that they are divine, they stop believing the lie that they have no power. The false creator's power starts to weaken, not because of a fight, but because of a shift in collective observation. People who know they make their own reality are impossible to control. This process is called a kind of sacred alchemy in the secret book of John. Getting to heaven is not the same as leaving Earth. It's about waking up inside of it. Though matter can be hard to get out of, it is also the place where spirit learns to recognize itself. This lab is your everyday life. The job that makes you tired, the relationship that makes you think, and the worries that come to you at night are not punishments. They are not getting in the way of your awakening. They are the things that your soul picked to work with. When you choose compassion over judgment, understanding over condemnation, and connection over separation when the world is screaming for you to feel alone, you are literally changing the dense, low-frequency energy that the Demiurge made into the high-frequency light of Sophia's wisdom. You are working with quantum chemistry. The old writings say that the human mind has a special skill that not even the pure aeons in the pleroma have. Those divine beings live in a state of perfect light and harmony. But they have never been in darkness, so they can't change it. This holy work can only be done by someone who lives in a state of superposition and knows the truth of limitation while also carrying the spark of the unlimited. Feel the mud under your feet and keep your heart tuned to the stars. Only you can do that. Because of this, the Gnostic texts don't show Jesus as a savior who comes to save you from the world. Instead, they show him as a great teacher who came to show you how to change it. His life showed what a coherent human can be like, and what can happen when the quantum self and the physical self become one. His miracles didn't break natural laws. Instead, they showed a higher quantum law that is stronger than the Demiurge's limited physics. His resurrection wasn't just a one-time supernatural event. It was the most powerful proof that your consciousness is not limited by the limits of your body. He didn't come to be worshipped. He came to show you how to master yourself. This is what it really means. You didn't come here to be saved. You came here to save everyone. Not for the whole world, but for your part of it. Sophia is always intervening in the world of shadows through your very presence, when you are aware of it. You are her way of making sure that the seed of memory, the frequency of home, will never go out, no matter how convincing the illusion of separation gets. When this truth came to John, it changed his grief. He knew that the mission wasn't over. It had just been given to everyone who was brave enough to remember. Right now, like this video to show how brave you are, you can choose to come out of the shadows of forgetfulness and into the bright responsibility of your own divine power. If this responsibility makes you feel heavy and scared, take back your power by saying in the comments, "I am the alchemy of my reality." This statement should be a sacred promise to yourself. It's a promise that you won't see your problems as punishments anymore, but as opportunities to grow and change. It turns the lead of limitations into the gold of awakened consciousness. Here is the truth that will change everything about the way you live your life. You're not getting lost at all when you're going through life's confusion, detours, and times when you feel completely disconnected from your purpose. It is the deepest way that God remembers us in action. Most spiritual paths go in the wrong direction when they read the secret book of John. You learn that matter is the enemy of spirit, and that this world is something you need to rise above. The Gnostic masters, on the other hand, knew something much deeper. Matter is not the opposite of spirit. It's a mirror for spirit. It's the only way for consciousness that has no limits or shape to really see, know, and remember itself. Take a look. Without the contrast of shadow, how could light ever really understand how bright it is? How could unconditional love know that it is limitless if it didn't have to deal with conditions and restrictions? Your soul's journey through what we call illusion is not a cosmic mistake that needs to be fixed. It is the path that leads back to being whole. Anamnesis was the word the Gnostics used for this holy process. Not like remembering where you put your keys, but like remembering what it means. This is the return of divine memory in a person's nervous system, which happens slowly, deliberately, and sometimes hard. Everything you've ever felt like you woke up from a dream, every sudden clarity, and every time a piece of music or a line of poetry made you cry without knowing why. That is anamnesis. That is your quantum self, your divine nature. Remembering who it is by going through the limits it chose to go through. This is how it works. The old writings talk about how time and space, which were made by the Demiurge, are part of this big system of remembering. They're not jails. They are a place to train in quantum mechanics. Time is a tool, even though it seems like it moves in a straight line from the past to the future. It's the way we remember things. Have you ever thought about how deep understanding doesn't just hit you all at once? It comes out. It fits together. God's intelligence is at work there, not a flaw in the system. If you can relate to this anamnesis process, click like. You can think of this click as an energetic accelerator that tells your mind that you are ready to remember things faster. Your body and mind couldn't handle the energetic upgrade if you suddenly remembered the entirety of your infinite self. Time gives your mind a chance to process how big it is in manageable, unified steps. Quantum physicists call what you're feeling temporal flexibility. You're not learning to master it by going back in time, but by being fully present in the present moment, which is the only place where all timelines meet. Space, which gives you and everything else the strong illusion of being separate, is where your soul learns to see through the lie of separation. The space between you and another person, or between you and the stars, is not an absolute fact. It's an exercise in perception that will help you see the one consciousness that is looking through all eyes more clearly. This is why you've always been restless and thought there was something seriously wrong with how chaotic and divided the world is. There's nothing wrong with you. It is your divine nature that won't let itself be fully hypnotized, that won't believe that the illusion of separation is the real truth. Your soul's descent into this world was the most loving thing that God could have done. You didn't come here to be judged. You came here to change the energy of this world by being here. You didn't come here to worship a God that is far away. You came to wake up the divine that has been stuck in matter the whole time. You become a living bridge between worlds when you start to remember this. Your eyes start to open to the stories of fear and lack that keep people stuck. You see them with compassion, though, because you know they come from forgetting. In other people, you start to see the divine spark, even when they are lost in their pain, anger, or roles. You're no longer fighting the whole world. You can see through it, and when you see, you become the magic that breaks the illusion. To honor your path, say in the comments below, My journey is my remembrance. Let these words be a deep act of self-compassion that turns every mistake and detour you think you've made into a sacred, necessary step on your way home. You're not lost. You're just having the experiences you need to remember that you are divine. Now we've reached the core of your power, the secret that the archons have kept hidden for thousands of years because it can destroy their whole world. Your awakening is not some far-off goal that you reach after a lot of hard work. You make this choice right now. They said that the divine spark inside you doesn't have to leave this world to be free. It only needs to be fully present in the world and see through its illusions. Being aware of something is the strongest force in the world. It's not a figure of speech, it's quantum physics. Particles in the quantum world are in a state of infinite possibility until they are seen. The wave of potential is collapsed into a single experienced reality by observation. By focusing on and believing in the frequency of limitation, fear, and separation that the archons broadcast, you have been creating your reality with your observation your entire life, but unconsciously. It's not possible to fight the archons because they are not real people. They are called thought forms or patterns of consciousness in the secret book of John. They are the fears that keep coming back to you. They are the strong urges that make you think that your happiness depends on something other than you. They only want one thing: your unconscious attention. They don't need chains to keep you there. Everything they need is for you to forget who you are and identify with the fear, worry, or story of how helpless you feel. In most cases, the best way to deal with these patterns is to fight them and think positive thoughts to hide them. But this is like walking into shadows on the wall. It only makes them stronger. The quantum way, or Gnostic way, is very different. You are just a witness. You see the fear come up. You pay attention to how it makes you feel. You pay attention to the story it tries to tell you about the past or the future. You don't judge it. You don't fight it. You don't connect with it. You just watch it with the calm, detached awareness of your divine, true self. And while they are seeing clearly and without judgment, a miracle takes place. The pattern starts to fall apart. When you're not lost in it, it can't hurt you. In this way, you are the observer who breaks down the illusion. The archonic forces can't stay alive when people are aware of them. They want you to be asleep, without thinking, and caught up in your dream. When you stop, take a deep breath, and choose to notice your inner state instead of letting it control you, you are freeing yourself spiritually in the most powerful way. This is how you should look at your daily life. That annoying person at work, the stress about money, and the anger you feel in traffic are not just random problems. There are quantum prompts there. They give you chances to work on your recognition. There is the same divine consciousness that lives in you behind the person who bothers you and behind the situation that tests you. If you can see that, even for a split second, you stop feeding the program of division and start broadcasting the frequency of unity. Your whole world changes, not because things change outside of you, but because you are no longer looking at them through the narrow lens of your ego. You are looking at them from the point of view of your soul, which is infinite. You are no longer a victim of the real world. You are the consciousness that makes it happen. Right now, like this transmission, to ground the power of the conscious observer in your being. Tell the quantum field that you are no longer a character in the story. Instead, you are the one who is consciously observing it into a new reality. This will solidify your shift. If you feel like this ultimate secret is your own power, prove it by writing in the comments. My awareness dissolves the illusion. This action should be a strong quantum signal, a choice to stop being a character lost in the story and start being an observer with the power to change it. You're not fighting the dream, you're just waking up in it. You are almost there with the most important realization a soul can have on Earth. You're not supposed to be here. Every time you felt like you didn't fit in or heard a whisper that there was more to life, it was your divine nature calling you to remember. The Secret Book of John wasn't just a book about history. It was also a message in a bottle that was sent down through the years to find you right now. What your soul already knew is true. You chose to be here. You came into this world of forgetting to help people remember. You are Sophia's breath in human form, and the code inside you can break the illusion. When you feel like the world is weighing you down, remember that you are not dysfunctional. You are waking up to your true purpose. It hurts because your heart remembers the frequency of love that doesn't stop. While you're awake, your soul remembers what real freedom is. Many beliefs tell us that we are small, separate, and powerless. The archonic system is not an old myth. It is today's beliefs, but it could only work if you agreed to it and forgot about it. To that end, your awakening is all that has ever been important. You change the code of this world every time you choose kindness over fear. There is a memory seed that spreads through the collective field every time you see the divine spark in someone else. When you choose to trust your inner knowing over an outside authority, you show other souls that there is another way. This is what you need to do. It's not to save the world, it's to remember who you are and become a living beacon for others who are stuck and need to find their way home. Being alone, being confused, and feeling like you were different were all parts of getting ready. There was just the right amount of pressure to keep your divine spark alive. You now know how the game works. The duty that comes with this knowledge is not a burden. It's the deepest kind of freedom. This is what you need to do. If you agree, please subscribe right now as your last act of dedication. If you do this now, it will show the universe that you are ready for the next step in your activation as an agent of divine memory. It's not just for future videos. At any given time, you can decide to stay a character in the Demiurge's dream, or become the dreamer who is becoming aware and waking up. You can wait for the souls that are ready. They want you to show them that it is safe to remember. This understanding shouldn't be shared as a rule, but as an invitation. Not only are you sending data, you are also sending a frequency. You are generating a resonant field of awakening that makes it simpler for the person next to you to remember, and the person after that to remember, and so on. This is the end of the trick. It won't go off with a bang, but with the quiet, unstoppable dawn of millions of souls remembering their light. You are the one who keeps an old promise. It's no longer okay to act small. Now is the time to fully remember. The journey ends where it began, inside the person who was never really lost and only dreamed of being alone in order to feel the pure joy of remembering being whole. You have been looking for a light that has always been looking for you. Now you can start your journey of remembering. Becoming a lighthouse for others is the last step. Send this message to the first person that comes to mind. This network of light grows with every share. This sends a wave of coherent energy through the collective consciousness, which helps another soul find their key and make their leap. You are now a transmitter, not just a listener. Broadcast the light now.